Hey guys, this is Mario from shockingfit.com, and in this video, I'm going to talk about self-acceptance versus self-improvement. And this is something that's been bugging me for a while, and I want to start off with this video simply by asking you a question. Are you okay with yourself? So, very simple question. But let's say you're browsing through your Facebook newsfeed and you see other people having fun. You see people in Vegas, they're having parties. You see a guy just bought a new car. You see someone, partying on a beach somewhere in a paradise resort, and you're thinking to yourself, damn it, I'm not there yet. I'm not that person yet. I need to self-improve. I need to work on myself. I need to invest more into personal development. I need to read more books. I need to read more articles, watch more videos, buy some kind of course. I need to improve my business, my health, my relationships, all these things. Are you thinking that? And how do you feel about achievement? Is achievement the source of your happiness? Is improving yourself a source of your happiness? And it was for a very long time for me. Simply developing myself was giving me that filling that void that I had for happiness. What is the other side? So are you kind of thinking, yeah, those people who are complacent, they're just lazy. They're just not working on themselves. They're not developing themselves. They're not pushing themselves enough. They're just lazy. They're just chilling. I mean, that's the stereotype of someone who's complacent, right? Someone who's in full self-acceptance, right? Someone who's just chilling down on a sofa, watching TV and spending his time on Netflix, just browsing through the internet, seeking for the next stimulation, like just not doing anything, right? Just completely self-accepting ourselves and just viewing the world as like whatever happens, it's fine. I'm good enough, right? I am enough. So is there a balance between like extreme I am enough while still being able to improve yourself? And that's something I want to talk a little bit in this video and just give you my mindset and how I managed to find that balance point between self-acceptance and personal development. And that's something I've struggled with for years. This is not just something that I've like magically done overnight. This is a thought process was bugging me for years because, I mean, it all started off when I was completely destroyed, right? I was unhappy in my business. I was just working for like a shitty salary, a shit job that I hated basically. I'd never wanted to do. The second thing was I was unhappy with my health. I was always looking myself in the mirror. I'm like, oh, fuck, I hate that guy. Who the fuck is that guy? I don't want to be that guy. And that was the source that unhappiness was kind of the source of the fuel that drove me into self-improvement, right? That was the initial, I guess, leverage point when that leverage reaches a tipping point where you're just like, fuck all of this. I can actually improve myself. I can change. And I'm not saying that's bad in all cases, but what happens if you fall into that mindset and into an extreme form of that mindset, that you're always thinking that you need to keep self-improving, you're never gonna be enough. And what is the problem there? And what is the problem with going to a different extreme where is an extreme that I went into as well? So after being in that extreme, like self-improvement, yeah, fuck yeah, personal development, real social dynamics, Tai Lopez, like reading a ton of fucking books, like all this shit, nonstop. Keep improving yourself. Keep reading. You're never enough. There's no end to how long you can improve yourself. And I mean, I still think that. I still believe that it's really difficult to reach a limit. I mean, especially in self-improvement. But what about the other side? So after that, going through these phases of like extreme self-improvement, I went into phases of extreme complacency as well. So in extreme complacency, I was just chilling around. Fuck this self-improvement bullshit. It's not for me. I know enough, right? I am enough. I am happy. I can just do stuff and I'm gonna be fine. So that was the other extreme. So in that extreme, I was like, oh, I don't need to read books anymore. It's all the same fucking crap, It's all the same ideas just being rehashed, articles. I don't need to see that. It's all a scam. It's all marketing anyways. I don't need to do that. I mean, I'm happy with myself. I don't need to do shit. So that was the place number 2. So how did I find balance between those two? Well, first I became a little bit mindful. Okay, I look at myself. Okay, I'm bouncing between these two things. Is there a balance point, right? And it all starts with mindfulness. Starts with, I guess, years of meditation and working on yourself kind of pushes you to be a little bit more self-aware, and that's what something I talked about before as well. Self-awareness is the key to change. It's the key to actually change your identity, to change your personality, to change your habits, beliefs. Everything starts with being self-aware and being able to analyze yourself from a standpoint of objective reality. And that's something most people don't have the ability to do. Unfortunately, most people, and I mean, even everybody is subjective to some degree, but most people are subjective 100%. So they don't even look at themselves objectively. So going back to the topic, when I kind of became a little bit more mindful, I was thinking, damn it, there must be some kind of balance point where I can still be happy with myself, but keep working to improve myself. And I was thinking, okay, let's break it down. I mean, what is the problem with self-acceptance? And the problem with self-acceptance is only if you take it to the extreme level. And if you don't find motivation while you're self-accepting yourself, you don't find that motivation to keep working, to keep hustling, to keep improving yourself. So my motivation kind of evolved from motivation, let's say like 1.0, that would be like motivation, let's get just fucking jacked, it's gonna help me with I don't know, getting girls, it's gonna help me with like getting more respect from all those people that are fucking bullying you or not giving you compliments or whatever when you're growing up or whatever. So that's like the motivation 1.0. Motivation 2.0 is like, yeah, I'm just doing it for myself. Fuck those people. I'm happy with myself. I'm just doing it for myself. And that's a place where I was for a very, very long time. And that's a good place to be at. I'm not saying that it's a bad place. It's a much, much better place than the place number one. But as you self-accept yourself, you're like, okay, damn it, I'm accepting myself. I'm good enough. I don't need to improve myself anymore. So how do you transcend that into the final form of motivation that I'm going to talk about? And that's motivation 3.0. And I guess it's like transcending motivation. It's not even motivation anymore. It's actually doing things to help other people and to inspire other people. So that's like the final stage of motivation, where you're working to improve yourself, not for yourself, or to use that that achievement, that body, that six pack, the muscle mass, or whatever you're achieving, your business or whatever. You're not using that as a source of happiness. You're shifting toward, okay, I'm accepting myself, but I'm also doing it to inspire others. I'm doing it to make the world a better place. I mean, it's a little bit cheesy, but that's the level where you need to get at. And once you get into that, that's infinite. There's no end to it. There's no question, because that's something that we're driven to do. We're purposeful creatures, and as Aristotle said, once you find that purpose of helping others, inspiring others, you don't even have to. I'm not talking about coaching people and doing like helping them in the fitness industry or whatever. If your business is something else, if your passion is not that, but you can still serve as an inspiration through your self-improvement. So that's how kind of I got into that extreme self-complacency, in self-acceptance, into finding that drive. And what is the problem with being constantly self-improving? Because a lot of guys and girls, they don't realize that there's actually a bad form of self-improvement as well, because you're using the achievement of self-improvement as the external source of happiness. And that's not, I mean, it's not in any way different than just being happy because someone liked your Facebook photo, or being happy when you eat shitty food, right? Just seeking food to fill in that void of happiness. It's not in any way different. It's the same damn thing, right? As long as you're seeking happiness from the external source, you're always going to be a slave of that source. There's no way you can transcend that. You're never going to be able to transcend that. And that's the problem with going into extreme self-improvement and thinking that self-improvement is the end all to every problem that you have. I mean, it is good to self-improve. I'm not saying that it's bad or anything like that. Obviously, I'm pretty much a self-development junkie myself. I'm going through all the programs. I mean, I'm following all the self-improvement gurus out there. But I'm saying that if that self-improvement is coming from a place where you're unhappy with yourself, you're simply using that self-improvement as that source of happiness. And that's the problem place to be at. That's a bad thing to be at. Why not start self-improving yourself out of place where you're already happy with yourself? Like, you're enough, but you're self-improving to help others, to inspire others. Imagine that, just that small shift in your mind, because you're no longer self-improving yourself just to fill in that damn void that it's unable to fill that void. Because if it starts from unhappiness, it's always going to lead to unhappiness. It's just a matter of time when you're just going to, I don't know, drop into like a failure and just get on a downward spiral. And that's kind of the problem with that. I mean, with someone started self-improvement, I know a lot of guys start off with healthy habits, start building their healthy lifestyle, same as I did. And I was fortunate enough to actually get results. But if I didn't get results, starting from that point of unhappiness where I was, what would have happened? I would probably get on a downward spiral, because I tried, I failed, then you downward spiral and you fail again, you fail again, you fail again, and it gets exponentially harder to get back on that point of self-improvement. And that's kind of the negative point of starting with seeking happiness from an external source, because you're risking getting on that downward spiral. And when you get on a downward spiral, you know what happens in your brain, right? Imagine you have a friend, and I don't know, you set up a meeting with that friend, just fucking flakes. 2 minutes before the meeting, text you, yeah, dude, sorry, I can't make it. And that happens once. Then second time, you arrange something, some deal, some things in your business, for example, and someone just instantly betrays you, just completely destroys the agreement, no integrity whatsoever. And that's kind of what's happening with your brain when you're actually setting up goals and failing. You're failing to commit to your habits. You're failing to execute the habits, and you stop trusting yourself. And that incremental lack of self-trust just gets deeper and deeper. And at that point, you no longer even want to start the new habit. So guys fall off the track, let's say, with managing their nutrition. And when you don't have that self-trust, you're not confident enough to restart the habit. Let's say after holidays, now it's holidays, I'm shooting this video for December 2015. So now it's holidays, a lot of people fall off the track with their diet. They don't want to go back into the diet because they don't trust themselves enough to some degree. I mean, there's many, many factors here, but they don't want to come back because they don't trust themselves enough that they will be able to maintain that habit and build it up again. And that's even that small, simple thing, you can see there that it's a lot harder to start once you lose the momentum and you get on that downward spiral. Even one or two kind of failures can completely destroy the trust in the process. I mean, trust in yourself. Because trusting in the process is actually coming from trusting yourself. Because when you trust yourself, you're like, there's always a point where, okay, ground zero, whatever, I trust myself, I can do it, I can build that up again. And that's the problem. And I'm fortunate enough to actually, when I started from that place of unhappiness, to be able to get some results, because I had people around me, and that's what I would say. I mean, people around you, successful people, positive people, will help you get results. That's kind of what helped me. But if I didn't have that, I was exposed to a very high risk of going on a downward spiral where my life would have ended in a completely different direction. And that would probably lead to depression, anxiety, and all these things that a lot of people are actually fighting with. And I might have fallen into that zombie state where I just seek external happiness and instant stimulation nonstop. And I mean, this is a topic that we can go very, very deep into it. It turns into a circle jerk very easily. But kind of the key takeaways I want to say is that if you're on a journey of self-improvement, be a little bit of self-aware. Analyze yourself and see if you're self-improving to be happy, or what other source of for that drive to self-improve is there, right? Can you be an inspiration to other people? Can you switch from a mindset where you are not accepting yourself, when you hate yourself? I mean, I'm not saying hate in a bad way. I'm saying hate oh, I'm just not there yet, right? You are there, right? You are already there. There's nothing else, right? I mean, starting from a point of self-hate, it just doesn't go to that good direction. Even if you get that external happiness 99% of the time, that one fucking percent of the time when it doesn't happen, bam, it's all gonna fall down like a house of cards, right? So you want to make sure that you come from that place of self-acceptance into the journey of self-improvement. And that's kind of the balancing point that I found through transcending the motivation, where I'm not doing it just for myself, I'm doing it to inspire others. That's a much stronger motivation as well than just seeking for yourself and for kind of the selfish reasons. Even though it's for yourself, it's still selfish. So it's not like the pure type of motivation. And if you're someone who is into self-acceptance, who is into Zen, meditation, and just the world is a beautiful place, I don't need to work on myself, I'm enough, I'm one with the universe, right? I mean, if you're that kind of person, is you being one with the universe, is that inspiring other people? Are you missing out on opportunity where you could help others? Are you missing out on somewhere where you can add value? Are you adding value? You might not be taking value if you're self-accepting, if you're meditating on a tree. I mean, it's fine. But are you missing the opportunity of adding value? So that's one thing to ask yourself. And if you are, why not invest a little bit into self-improvement? Why not try to push yourself and drive yourself to achieve a little bit more? When you can, when you have this life, when you have this form, why not try that? I mean, you resonate with a lot of ideas of self-acceptance. Why not help others find more self-acceptance? Why not reach out to people who are into extreme self-improvement? They'll help them find some self-acceptance. And same goes for the person who is extreme self-improvement. Why not try to get a little bit of self-acceptance there? Why not like just ditch that external source of happiness? Because once you get at that place, there's no more envy, there's no more like being shoved in your head by what other people are doing. And that's something I've struggled with a lot. You know, I see guys like, I know, like fucking Brandon Carter or RZ Tyler or someone like putting out videos, like fucking killing it. And you're like, oh, damn it, you know, am I good enough, right? Am I going to put videos out there as well? And that's something that you have to transcend a little bit and just see, okay, I'm the person that can add value. And that's my motivation to keep hustling, to inspire, and to actually give out as much value as I can. And that's a good place to be. And just because you're doing it for making the world a better place rather than just for yourself. So that's something to consider. I hope this rambling on in this video helped you out a little bit. Is this something it's on my mind constantly? This is something that has been bugging me for a very, very long time. And I feel like the ideas that I just come across from many, many books from Zen and all these other ones, they just kind of collided together, and I managed to find some form of balancing point. And I mean, I still fall into some form of self-improvement extreme at some point, then I go back to self-acceptance at some point, but I'm very close to like balancing it out most of the time, which is making me super happy, and I can still work on my business and be happy with myself, which is an amazing point to be at. So I hope you resonate with this idea. And actually, if you find this idea very helpful, the stuff that I've shared in this video, leave me a comment below what you think. And I'm curious about if you have something to add. Is this something you struggle with yourself? How do you feel like, would this help you out just by applying some of these principles and some of these methods I've shared in this video? And if you enjoy this type of video, make sure to click subscribe below. It's a little bit different from my usual stuff, but I said I want to cover stuff that is fitness, nutrition, and mindset and personal development. And I found that this is a big key to keep working on your goals, keep achieving those goals for the right reasons. So yeah, make sure to click subscribe, as I said, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.